Hello and welcome to another GBR 2 vs 2. It's on Twisted Meadows. That's the map. We know that and love that map, don't we? We just love it so much. Okay, so the players are Granty as the undead, and Albert as the undead, and Michael Mayers as the undead, and Metaxia as the orc. Now, why didn't he follow through and go undead as well? I don't know what he was thinking, but there you go. He is orc. He didn't want to play ball with the other guys, so he's doing possibly a fast tech, possibly Blade Master Harass. We'll catch up on that. But meanwhile, Michael Mayers going ghouls to begin with. Fiend build for Albert by the looks of it, and Fiend build for Granty. What's your hero gonna be? Metaxia. I want to see. It's going to be a bit of smack talk from these players. Granty and Albert, two very bad-mannered players. Scum. Some people might call them. I would call them scum. Now let's see. Albert's not Albert. I was going to say Alter, and I went for Albert. We're waiting for that burrow. Come on! I've been waiting so long to see what this hero is going to be. And there's a barracks, so it's not a fast tech at least. Somewhat late barracks, but I don't know orc really, the build orders, so whatever. He could be doing it perfectly for all I know. So there's a Blade Master, but no fast tech, which is probably a good thing because 2 vs 2, Granty and Albert are probably going to be highly aggressive or do some sort of particular strategy that involves being faggots. Now, it looks like Granty is capped. I don't know why he didn't get his cigarettes earlier, but there you go. Albert, meanwhile, producing a fiend, and he's got his hero, a lich first, so almost definitely going to be some aggressive start to this game. And let's see what the hero is. Lich first as well for Granty, so they're both going lich. So this is kind of an all-in strategy, I would imagine. Not many people go lich to creep, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to imagine that they're going to be aggressive. Perhaps a sacrificial skull might be used, maybe an acolyte, maybe some towers. But a ghoul's going to scout. This is another giveaway here. Is Metaxia going to see the ghoul? Is he going to recognise the issue that's about to come upon him? Maybe. Michael Mayers having a look around Albert's base to get a good glimpse. Metaxia does see the ghoul. Could just be a scout though, you don't know that. But from this point of view and knowing that the liches are coming out, it does seem quite strongly like some sort of aggressive play, some early rush. Michael Mayers putting down his tech, but there's going to be no tech for Albert, if I'm sure on that. Michael Mayers trying to do some nice harassing. He's going to get the acolyte, which is a nice touch because the Death Knight hasn't come out yet for Albert, and he even throws a coil down just to give that skeleton just a bit more life, allowing his other skeletons to harass. Albert's doing a pretty good job here to some extent. You can see with the Nerubian Tower he's actually individually targeting each of the skeletons at certain points. Because the Nerubian Tower, you only have to hit the unit once and then it slows it for like 5 seconds, for example. So you can hit, 3 units within that 5 seconds, so you're going to get more bang for your buck if you actually try to spread the Nerubian Tower love around. It doesn't stack, so making it attack the same target isn't going to allow it to sort of slow it down even more with each attack. You just want to make sure you hit a couple of targets, maybe 3, and then move back to the first target it was hitting. Now Metaxia is not going to be very successful in this harass by the looks of it. He's going to have to back off. Michael Mayers taking the time to creep out the creep camp nearest Albert. Granty spots that. We can see Granty is at the moment just producing more fiends. Let's see what his food cap is at. 27 out of 30. Albert's 20 out of 30. So it's a bit lower, but he did get harassed, so that's probably thrown him off a little bit. Meanwhile, Metaxia has got his tech going. 2 grunts sitting in the base. Michael Mayers being a bit more aggressive, trying to openly creep out the areas that belong to Albert, at least on his side of the map. But he may not be so successful when Albert's about to scout this happening. So Albert's going to sort of back off a little bit, play around with this. The creeps are currently pummeling on Michael Mayers' units. So Michael Mayers smartly moving his units to the left, right there, sorry. Oh, and Granty, unfortunately, is going to turn up here, which means Michael Mayers needs to back off because he's not going to do very well in this situation. So he's got nothing to gain. There's no units to pick off, so there's no reason to hang around. Metaxia takes down the pesky Acolyte, apparently. So Granty was having another scout, this time with a Acolyte instead of a Ghoul. And the tech is almost done for Michael Myers. What hero is he going to go for? Let's see his resources right now. So he's not able to get a hero. He's currently still pumping fiends, and he's going to need a bit more cash before he can go for a second hero. Meanwhile, Granty and Albert are sitting inside of Michael Myers' base. They've got skeletons being pesky to the acolytes, and they've got fiends on the right side that are going to do some nice, safe DPS from a distance. And the crypt is on the outside, which is going to be a bit of a pain for Michael Myers because they can target that. Although it's never that easy to attack an undead base unless you're going to maybe put down acolytes to support it. Lich is being focused here, getting support though from Albert, who did actually change to Death Knight by the looks of it. I guess I needed to pick up on that a little bit earlier. But the Death Knight here has been surrounded. Ooh, what happened there? That was weird. But though, Michael Myers goes down as well. A little Death Knight versus Death Knight battle there to the end, and Granty is taken down. So both heroes out. This means that basically Albert and Granty don't want to stay in this scenario unless it's going to have great, you know, benefits to them, because they're not going to get any experience. If they kill any units, they're not getting any experience here. So that was nicely defended there by Michael and Metaxia. And the Blade Master can chase down some of these fiends, do a nice job of that. Not that any are very easy to pick off right now. So the initial attack didn't go so well for those guys, but they still haven't teched up by the looks of it, so they're going to be probably going again. They kind of have to. If they're not going to tech, they haven't got the resources for it. They're still going for fiends. A second crypt for Albert, so they're pretty dead serious about this tier 1 aggression. Because they could have pulled back and said, right, okay, we need to tech now. We need to move on to the next stage. But they're going to carry on, even after the initial attack failed. Michael Myers getting Slaughterhouse and a second. No, that's his first hero. He's just getting it back. Death Knight. So it's probably a good thing that Albert did actually get himself a Death Knight instead of a Lich. Because it's a bit much to have 2 Liches. You don't really need that. A Death Knight is going to bring in a lot of support passively just with his aura, Unholy Aura. Conveniently named. So the grunts here need to get that rock golem down. He's such a pest, isn't he, Metaxia? Albert spots the Shadow Hunter coming out, but there's not really anything he can do. He's not in the right position to gank it. Michael looking around, trying to scout maybe for an expansion possibly. Metaxia backing off here. Not sure why. Maybe because he's seen this going on, so he wants to go back. Maybe buy a TP. No, he's got a TP. But Michael Myers picking up the rest of the units here, buying whatever he can, because this is pretty much going to have to be all that he can use to defend with against this attack. Because once again, Albert and Granty have built themselves up quite a large army, considering, I mean, it's 6 fiends each, pretty much 5 fiends for Granty. Well, 6, make that 6. Make that 6 now with that fiend coming in. And there's now towers at the back. So if the fiends can get themselves in a nice position without the heroes getting killed early on, they can actually sort of hold this perhaps and allow the towers to go up. But they've got to buy time. Frost Armor's a nice touch on those fiends. It allows them to defend just for that little bit longer. Michael Myers trying to get some hits on some weak fiends at the moment. Metaxia can pretty much only tank at this point. Grunts aren't going to be any sort of super DPS. Got the units at the back. We're looking at 44 food for Albert, 39 food for Granty, 37 food for Michael, and 33 food for Metaxia. So the guys on the left hand side are a little bit low, not to mention that they're facing against towers that are currently researching. About a quarter of the way through right now, a couple of those towers, and there's no easy quick way to kill a Ziggurat. Even when it's upgrading, they're not like human towers or orc towers. You know, well, once those go up, those go up. I guess I mean human towers, because when they're upgrading, they can still be killed pretty damn quickly. The Ziggurats have still got that kind of fortified armor, so they're pretty beastly. And now the Ziggurats have gone up. We're looking at Spirit Towers, pretty much going to be performing quite a lot of DPS. It's a fast attack, 27 to 32, so 29 damage pretty much, or 30 damage if you want to say that much, round it off. On a fast attack, he's going to be quite consistent, decent DPS. Blade Master going down, Michael Myers needing to back off a little bit here. He's got the Spirit Link, but there's not enough units to really spread that baby around. He needs a whole ton, even though it only affects 4 units. It's just he needs more units, but he can't have many more units because these guys have sacrificed their tech, gone all out, tier 1, mass fiends. This is everything on the line for these guys. They have to basically do well in this attack, otherwise they're going to be so far behind in tech they can probably be picked off by better units. Now, Granty throwing down some smack talk as usual. Bit prematurely, because it ain't over yet, that's all I'm saying. So we've got Albert, we've got Granty, both sitting on level 3, pretty powerful. Level 2 Frost Nova, level 2 Coil is going to give them a lot of longevity in this fight. Michael Myers is on level 3 but level 1 on his second hero, and Metaxia, I'm not sure if he's got any spare heroes. No, they're both dead, and the Blade Master was level 3 and the Shadow Hunter was level 2. And I don't know if he'll be able to get them back up again, because it looks like Albert and Granty are in a very strong position at this point. And if they see that Alter trying to rebuild the hero, not that Metaxia even has the resources for it because he's in such a tight spot right now, it's going to be it's going to light up the Alter, and it's going to show them that a hero is trying to come out and they want to destroy it. Oh, that was close. They just needed one little bit more of a spiderling coming towards that Lich, and that would have gone down. So Michael Myers just managing to survive with his Lich intact. Granty's moving back now into the safety of all of this blight among the Orc base. Look how much blight there is. You'd think it was undead on first glance. And there's cigarettes all over the place. Another couple to sort of secure attacks on the stronghold. Keep the pressure on the main so that you have to repair it, and then eventually it's probably going to go down because towers don't cost anything to attack, and obviously it costs a lot to repair and keep that going, especially under this much pressure. There's a lot of fiends, I'm going to be honest. It looks like Albert's on 53 out of 60 food now, so they're pretty much still going all out. They're not saving onto resources, which I would suggest would be a better idea, to be honest. You may as well save onto it a little bit if you're that close. Unless you've got enough resources to comfortably go over 50 food, I would sit at 50 food. But never mind, they are all in, baby. So Granty is still sitting at 32 food, whereas Albert's got the majority of the army. But I'm not sure if Granty was possibly feeding Albert a little bit, the spare resources that he had, or whether just his resources have been spent on these towers. Most likely the latter. So it looks like Metaxia's stronghold is pretty much going to go down. Metaxia's units hidden at the back here. They aren't going to be able to escape very easily. The ethereal form is going to be pretty useful, but undead are pretty effective at getting through that. So I'd run them away right now. And look, this Altar of Storms is lighting up and it's about to go down. Blade Master not even halfway through being built because it's a level 3 hero, and level 3 heroes take forever to freaking come out. Okay, so finally we got a tech going for Grant and a tech going for Albert. Albert's one is almost done. I'll be interested to see if he moves on to Slaughterhouse or maybe even Temple of the Damned type units, or whether he's just going to still stick it up, maybe tech again and just go for the full-on Fiends and Frostworms. Michael Myers choosing to go Banshees here with anti-magic shield, so that's going to be pretty damn effective versus undead. I mean, not to mention it works wonders against Nova, because Frost Nova is a pretty powerful spell. I wouldn't so much say it's underrated because I think everyone knows it's a very strong spell, but it does more damage than you think it does. Believe me, it really is effective. You get it in the middle of a tight pack, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck from that one Frost Nova, not to mention you're slowing a lot. So it doesn't look like that much, but it's effective. It's very effective in big battles, and this means everything. The Spirit Link is pretty much a very handy thing to have for Michael Myers. It means that he can hang out in this tough scenario for that bit longer against a far superior army, because if they focus down his units, they're not going to do as much damage as they could do, because the damage is being spread amongst Michael Myers' other units. It's not like he wants to take damage by any means, because the other units are also getting low on health as the one unit gets focused, but it means that Michael Myers isn't going to be losing Fiends just to like one volley of attacks from the mass that Albert currently has. Sitting on 1-1 with the Fiends. Death Knight's still free. Granty's hero still free. Granty's Fiends, not so high level, but I'm not sure if he's going to choose to go a different build like Slaughterhouse. He might move into that, whereas Albert might just tech straight up to Frostworms. We're going to keep an eye on that. He hasn't got the wood for it at this point. Is there going to be a second hero for Albert? By the looks of it, he might be investing into something here. He's got lumber, so that's enough to get a hero and the tech as well. What was it? It was a Dart Ranger. That's a safe bet, to be honest, a Dart Ranger. Now we're going to see how Michael Myers responds to this scenario. He's actually got a pretty large army at this point. He's pretty comfortable, and the fight has been gunned by Granty over here. A nice, lovely item there. Tome of Experience allowing Granty's Lich to move up one stage. Now, these Banshees are even on Master, so they're actually starting to take over units right now. So they're going to gain the Fiends that Albert has. This is pretty powerful. It means that Michael Myers is also moving up into Destroyer, so he can absorb any magic and get some more mana for his Destroyers, which in turn means they do more damage. Michael Myers in a pretty strong position. The Spirit Walker's still alive, allowing Spirit Links on Michael Myers units to keep those units going. Now, Michael Myers also has an Abomination. That's a nice touch. It's going to be good DPS. It looks like he's going for Granty's Lich, and a lovely bit of focus fire there. Takes down the Lich before Albert can react to coil it in time. Not that he could, because he is actually too low on mana. So both Granty's hero and Albert's hero are down, and now that's all that is left is a level 1 Dart Ranger. Not going to be able to put up so much of a fight, to be honest. Needs a bit more time to creep and get strong. So looks like Michael Myers is playing with a pretty tough composition here. He's got Banshees, Fiends, Abominations, Destroyers, and double hero, and he's making it work. The Spirit Link, I'm telling you, that is, if you're going to have any unit survive when your whole base gets destroyed, Spirit Walkers are pretty good units to have survive, because they have got a lot of flexibility. They're only initiates, so he hasn't got the ability to dispel with disenchant, but that's what the Destroyers can do. The main thing is that they can allow Spirit Link to just basically give these units so much more stamina. Now Michael Myers moving in here, trying to pick off a few Fiends whilst Albert is still weak. Albert should really be hanging a lot further at the back of his base. He doesn't want to let his buildings at the front get killed, but at the same time he needs to recognise that he is pretty much overpowered at this point. So he needs to hang near the back here, make this as awkward as possible for Michael Myers to actually pick off his units. Acolyte's coming in here. The Death Knight's still got a long way to go. I'm not sure if Albert's going to be able to get his hero back. Almost definitely not. Acolytes are choosing to move back. They're going to not sacrifice any more of those. More Banshees coming in. They're going to be benefiting from the Obsidian Statues mana regeneration, which means that they can actually choose to possess more units if they can get to 250 mana. Otherwise they can just throw down more curses and possible anti-magic shields. Abomination in a tough spot here. Damn that Nerubian tower. Look at it. Slow it down so much. Michael not sitting on so much mana, so he's going to move that Abomination back until he can get enough mana to coil it. There's still focus coming in from that main. Look at the range on that. The Abomination having to move all the way back there. Let's have a look at Granty's base meanwhile. We can see a second crypt being built, and the Slaughterhouse is down. He's got a more safe composition, Statues, Fiends, and the Lich, but he hasn't got that many units. Now the Scourge Burn Chimes are very useful if you've got a lot of melee units, but not so useful if you're deciding to stick with mass Fiends. But it's still a damn good item regardless, especially if you do have the option to change to a lot of ghouls, which Albert is going ghouls. He's got the graveyard, so he's deciding he's getting the upgrade for ghouls as well, so he's switching his tactics. Tier 1 ghouls, obviously, well, tier 2 I suppose, but there's the same thing really, because they've only got 0-0, so they're tier 1 ghouls as far as I'm concerned. They're not going to be so powerful against this composition. Even at tier 3 with the upgrade, it's nice and they can be good, but against Frost Nova at level 4, that's going to be nasty. There's a few opportunities for Michael Myers to slow down those ghouls and pick them off with his army. He's going to move to Granty's base. He's deciding to lay off Albert a little bit. Perhaps he feels that it isn't worth pressing any further into this base due to the defense of the actual towers. So he's going to try his luck at Granty's base. Granty's now deciding to bring out Gargoyles, which is an interesting idea. I understand the concept. I'm not sure if it's the right move though, because in order to actually take down those destroyers, he's going to need, what, 5 plus gargoyles, so he can actually have more than one up in the air at all times, because they're going to get webbed by the fiends. So I'm not saying it's easy. I mean, going fiends isn't an easy way to kill those destroyers, but I'm not sure if gargoyles is going to help him out very much here. Banshees are just massing up. We could see a lot more possessions going down. There's a few of them sitting on some nice mana. 400 mana, it's a good amount there. The one abomination just chilling out, doing his thing for the team. He's on his own, but hey, he's still being useful. Now we can see more banshees coming out, and Albert is moving in with his ghouls, and he's going to see if he can do some damage to Michael Mayer's base, perhaps force a TP. But Michael Mayer's, yes, he is going to choose the TP at this point, because it takes long enough to kill an undead base. And if he can get a good position like he has just done there, TP into the right, blocking the exit point for the ghouls, meaning they have to now go down, which is further away than they wanted to go, and it allows Michael Mayers to pick up quite a few more points, bit more experience from those ghouls. So what have we got? We've got level 5 Death Knight halfway through, and the Lich is almost level 5, very almost level 5. Meanwhile, Granty is starting to take over this base quite sufficiently. He's actually starting to span some buildings, and he needs more acolytes. Definitely needs more acolytes for that gold mine, because he's going to need it. Because I think he's starting to recognise that his main is probably not going to last much longer, because Michael Mayers is on the warpath right here, and he's heading straight towards it. No, he's not. Oh, you're going to do that to me, are you? Just as I say that, you're going to change your mind. It's almost like you heard what I said. He's decided to move all the way to the left-hand side, and he's going to go for the expansion as well, which is not a bad idea. Not to mention the fact that whilst there are towers here, they are quite far to the east side, so there is a nice gap here for him to avoid as much tower damage as possible. And this is the right decision, because if we're going to take a quick look at the moment at the gold mines, there's 300 at Albert's main, there's nothing left in Granty's main, and well, Michael Mayers is all out of gold himself, and he hasn't got an expansion at this point, so he needs to make this attack matter. He needs to take down this gold mine. There's only 3,000 gold here, but that 3,000 gold is a lot more than what anyone else is going to get in the meantime. So this is the right move for Michael Mayers. He's got a bit of opportunity here to take down these towers whilst there's very little defense. So he's got a lovely composition. The Spirit Links are just brilliant. Really doing a good job there with that. And he's got the statue at the back there just supporting his banshees there. You can see that, pummeling more mana into these guys. Do they need any more mana? They got enough to possess, and that's all you need. So let's have a look. It looks like Albert is going to go for an expansion, possibly. Has he managed to unsummon enough? He has, by the looks of it, if I'm looking at this right. Yes, 534 gold. He has got enough to expand, and this is probably the safest point he could expand at in the game at the moment. Oh my, Michael Mayer's moving to expand himself, because the undead can obviously unsummon buildings. So if they get into that situation where they actually have like 0 gold, as long as they got a few buildings left, if they unsummon enough of them, they can get themselves into a position where they can then retake a gold mine and start building up another economy. And this is the one. There's obviously a lot more gold on this side, but Michael Mayers currently has the more supreme army, so all he has to do is spot this gold mine, and Albert is toast, regardless of your ghouls. He's now tier 2 ghouls. They are tier 2 ghouls because they got 2 on attack and 1 on defense. It looks like Granty's sending out a bit of scout, just trying to see Albert 2 where Michael Mayers is. They know that he's down here, but I guess they're going to look for a possible expansion at this point. Let's have a look. Michael Mayers, is that your unit there? That is indeed. There's your fog of war. You can actually see quite a lot in the daylight. I thought it might be a bit more restricted than that. There goes down the ping from Ataxia, a bit of the old map hack there, pinging out the expansion. No, I'm only joking with you, by the way. That's a logical place to ping. It makes sense. Oh, it looks like these guys have built up a rather reasonable army, to be honest. And it looks like Michael Mayers is going to position himself a little bit here, get himself ready, throw down the anti-magic shields. We need those Spirit Links. Get those Spirit Links going. Come on, Metaxia. The Ghouls moving in, possibly trying to go for a surround here. Have they got the speed? They haven't got the speed by the looks of it. I think Granty's Ghouls have got the speed. Yeah, tier 3. I think Granty's Ghouls have got the speed, but Albert's Ghouls are a little bit slower. You can see the little difference. Even Michael Mayers asking for that Spirit Link. He knows the Spirit Link needs to go down, Blessed be the Spirit Link. And Albert's ghouls. Like I was saying, those Novas, they're going to be nasty pieces of work. We still got statues. But I don't know. This is looking a little bit grim. Those ghouls are going down. Enough ghouls have gone down. That means that Michael Myers can use his ultimate here to actually spawn more ghouls, but for himself. And he's not even possessed them. He's still got banshees here that are capable of possess if he wanted to use them that way. But he's choosing to keep them. No need to possess ghouls, to be quite frank. Probably worthwhile on fiends, but not that necessary. And it looks like Albert's hero is just about to go down. It does. The last couple of fiend follies, the spiders, spiderlings take it down. Granty's Lich is now in a very tough space. Is there going to be a teleport used? There is indeed. Michael Myers has cleaned up the floor with that army. And I think it's safe to say that I don't think Albert or Granty are going to build an army like that anytime soon. No. They're looking a little bit grim, but Albert has got enough cash to get his Death Knight back. And the resources are flowing in for Albert. 290 gold down to 10. He's spending it all. Anything he gets is getting spent. Did it go to Granty? Quite likely. I think he may have passed it to Granty to get fiends, because Granty's fiends might be higher upgraded. More upgraded, as it were. Because Albert chose in the end to go for ghouls and start upgrading those instead. So they're trying to get as much as they can for their money's worth. But it does look like Michael Myers is forcing an unsummon here from Albert, which is possibly going to leave him enough resources. I don't know. I mean, when it gets killed, it means he gets even less gold. He's going to be sitting at 168 gold there. 175 is still going up. Do you still get the unsummon cost? That's interesting. I'm not sure about that. Even if they kill it before it's finished unsummoning, he's still getting resources. Oh, I see. He's unsummoning stuff over here. Now it makes sense. Now it all makes sense. So, is he going to try and take another expansion? It seems unlikely he's even able to, but is that his goal? Or is he just unsummoning everything to then pass the resources to Granty, who can then build one last possible army to come back? But Michael Myers recognizes that his expansion, his only source for gold, is in trouble, and he's moving back. And he's going to see if the Lich can catch up. No. That Lich is a nice little try to slow down the Lich here from Michael Myers, using the Acolyte to block the Lich's path, slowing it down, making it stop, giving Michael Myers a possible chance for his Lich to get close enough to throw down the Frost Nova. Oh, it's so close. Come on. Come on. Yeah, there we go. That's what we were waiting for. Frost Nova does the trick. Pretty much the game winner here. Michael Myers moving his Acolytes back, but Grant is still kicking it with the one Fiend and Acolyte left, almost about to take down another Acolyte, except denied. Death Coil goes down from Michael Myers' Death Knight, and he says no. And is that a possession? It is. Granty's last Fiend has been taken by Michael. So, let's have a look at what we've got. Albert sitting with a level 2 Dark Ranger, Granty with 0 heroes, Michael Myers with his level 7 Death Knight and level 6 Lich, and Metaxia obviously has been out of the game for quite a while. He's still in it, but with just 2 Spirit Walkers. So, Michael Myers, is he going to get that final Acolyte to seal the deal? He is. 5 Acolytes, going to finish off that gold mine relatively soon, but I think Michael Myers will have enough resources and army to handle anything else that can be produced by Granty and Albert. Albert now leaving, and you can read the text obviously whilst I'm commentating this, and even Jack Flash has had enough. He's like, you know what, you got owned, I don't even need to see anymore. Michael Myers moving up towards a non-existent base. On the minimap it shows that a base exists, and that's just basically a Warcraft 3 thing. Blizzard never really fixed that. I'm not sure if that came in at some patch or whether that was just always the way it's been. I cannot remember, it's been so long. But yeah, it fools you into thinking there's something there, but there's nothing at all. There is something down here. Granty likes to pick the cheat colour, which is dark green, which allows him to blend in the greener areas on this map without being seen. It's very difficult to spot that, and yes, you can change like set ally color modes, but I don't like to have to do that just because someone wants to choose a color to give themselves an advantage. It is the cheat color without doubt. So Michael Mayers here looking for the opportunity to finish off Granty, because Granty hasn't left just yet. He's throwing down the Spirit Links, old Metaxia. He's doing his job. So the Spirit Links are going down. I don't think any of these units are going to die anytime soon. And even if they do, the Death Knight can just resurrect them back into battle. They'll be dead, and they'll basically disappear after a certain amount of summon time. But they'll come back. You better believe they will. Looks like Granty got a few ensnares, and he's trying to possibly take down a Destroyer or two. But I don't think he's going to have enough DPS to really make much of an impact here. Not versus an army of this size. Even the Lich has moved on to level 7. And more of these fiends are going down for Granty. I've got to be honest, I don't think he's got enough to survive at this point. Even Death and Decay is being used here in a beautiful position. That is lovely. That's going to make light work. It's going to kill the statue. It's pretty funny. Not much you can do about that. And Granty admits defeat. He lost. Albert and Granty lost. Michael Mayers and Metaxia take the win. Michael Mayers fighting a 1 versus 2 there for quite a long time indeed. And the score certainly shows that. Look at that score. So we go to the units. It's 127 units killed by Michael Mayers there. That's a large number, which means that his heroes, hang on a second, are 7 and 7. So he's got a lot of experience there. 7 hero kills. He just basically denied Granty and Albert from pretty much progressing much further because he just kept taking them down. And the resources, somewhat reasonable, not too high for any one player in particular. Michael Mayers, so sitting on about 19k, and Albert and Granty on 27k. So there you go. Well, there it is. Nice job there, Michael. Well done. Laying the smack of down to the noobs, Granty and Albert. We like to see that. And Metaxia doing his job too with the Spirit Link. Alright, thank you all for watching. This has been Witty. Please subscribe, like and comment. I'll see you later.